Well, good evening, everybody. It's me, Mitch, and the music fortuitively ended right there. So here I am. I know it's not Christmas time. I just thought I'd wear my colorful shirt. And good to see you. And you know it's me, Mitch. I trust everybody can hear me. I think I've got all the buttons pushed right. Always endeavoring for professional show business, and yet not ever quite achieving it. It's a good thing I'm the boss here, or I'd probably be fired by now. 6 by 6, that's even better than 5 by 5. Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. Good to see everybody. We've got everybody filing into the auditorium right now. We're looks like up to about 47 people, which is about an average start. I don't know who I'm competing with tonight, but wow, we waited over 50. Good for you. Well, it's good to see you all. I think Tuesday night is one of my favorite times of the week, along with Monday morning, where I get to just let go sometimes. But it's interesting that Monday morning video that I do is usually the worst received video of all the ones I put up there, the fewer number of views. Yet I do get views from every one of my regulars on that video. And when I do those videos, I'm doing it for you guys. You guys understand it. Most people who've never seen me before or just happen to see that pop up in their feed will say, man, this guy's out of his mind. He's crazy. Who the hell is he? I think you have to be a member of the club to appreciate that. I got one comment last week, and it was from a viewer. His handle or screen name or whatever you want to call it was Homeboy. HOMBOI. Homeboy. And it said, I'm not subscribed to you. Why did your video show up in my recommendations? Obviously, someone who doesn't understand how YouTube works. That's what YouTube does. That's the purpose of the YouTube algorithm. YouTube knows that the more people watch your video, the more they make on advertising revenue. What a lot of YouTubers don't understand is that YouTube is really your partner and wants to see you succeed. And they take a look, and I think the way the algorithm works, although nobody knows for sure, is I think they take a look at how many of the regular viewers, the subscribers, jump on a video quickly. And if they see a lot of regular subscribers jump on a video quickly when it's released and get more than the average number of views over the first, say, half hour or hour, they then figure there's a chance that more people may like this video since the channel's regular viewers like the video, and they start pushing it out to people who have probably never seen me. But people who regularly watch videos in the same genre, so people who might be viewers of Ken Berry and viewers of Chafee and those guys, and Sean Baker and some of the bigger channels who've never heard of me, although impossible as that might sound, I'm sure they're out there. They might get a shot at one of my videos, and And I've noticed that when I make a video that gets an extremely large percentage of views right out of the gate, that's when I get a lot of new subscriptions and a lot of new viewers, and I get comments from these new viewers telling me, your video just popped up in my feed this morning, I never saw you before. They either tell me, most of them tell me how much they like me and that they're going to start watching some of my older videos, which I like. And I have in the carnivore genre, since I changed from being a drone channel, 292 videos, which astounds even me. It's a lot of videos, and it's almost 300 videos. And when I think about that, when I say Mitch, and of course I say, what? I say, Mitch, haven't you said it all by now? You've made almost 300 videos. And therein lies the challenge, my friends, to keep coming up with something different. And I got to tell you, I think that's the hardest part of this. There's just so many ways to cook a steak. There's just so many different combinations of 5 or 6 foods you come up with. There's just so much you can talk about addiction. And I find that more and more of my videos are more me just philosophizing about my thoughts and my feelings and how it relates to carnivore. And I hope that that goes over well, because in that respect, I never run short of things to talk about. Anyway, good to see you all. People are pouring in now. We got 71 people, so 72. So hail, hail, the gang's all here. I will go back to the beginning of the chat. Say hi, Jerry Bell was the winner today. Jerry, hello, meat people, he says, and then he goes ahead and asks a question. He says, for what it's worth. and that tickles me to death. How many people start their comments now with, for what it's worth? Evidently, that video did real well. I think it's over 8,000 views now, which for me is a lot of views in the first week. Some of these videos go on to keep accumulating views over the months, and I'm almost at 200,000 views on that video of me throwing a chuck steak in a slow cooker. There's no rhyme or reason to this stuff. But he says, for what it's worth, I found your channel when you released that video making your own electrolytes. Have you changed your recipe, or would you change it the next time? Thanks. No, I haven't changed my recipe. And if I did change it, the only one change that I might consider would be using magnesium glycinate instead of magnesium citrate. There have been pointed out a few differences between them that I don't think make much difference, because you're really after the magnesium, but magnesium citrate has a slight laxative effect, which I enjoy. Because in my fiber eating days, I was always plugged up, and I found myself taking citrate of magnesia and other laxatives just to stop suffering from that. Now, that has pretty well cleared itself up, and I don't believe I actually need the laxative part of the magnesium citrate, because I still drink my coffee. And that has a mild laxative effect as well. So I have no problems in that department anymore. But other than that, it works great for me. I end up not taking a dose every day. I take a dose every 2 to 3 days. I think that after almost 2 years doing this, I have actually settled in, and my body has actually adjusted itself to get the nutrition it needs out of what I eat primarily, which is the way we're supposed to work. So I really think that and I do the same with a little vitamin D supplement every couple, 3 days. I take a little 5,000 IU capsule of vitamin D, and we'll see if that affects my vitamin D levels on my blood test at the end of the year when I go get them again. But I don't worry about that stuff, and I don't try to micromanage too much. I've settled into the amount and types of food that I eat. I settled into doing it on a very regular basis. I think my body's gotten used to it. I'm not bored at all. I love the food I eat. There's no food that I long for, crave for, wish I could eat, want, feel deprived because I'm not eating anymore. I think I've regressed back to an animal way of eating where this is my food. I eat when I'm hungry. And when I'm not hungry, other than thinking about food in the line of making a video about cooking or shopping or something like that, it's a subject that's just not a part of my daily life anymore, which is understandable because carnivore YouTube seems to be my life now. At any rate, Jerry, hope that answers your question. Cliff Medina's here. How you doing, Cliff? Mark, Eat Meat, Heal for Life, says, good morning. We got a break from the storms, and I've been enjoying some of the free vitamin D from that beautiful yellow bowl in the sky. By the way, National Egg Day. Wasn't that yesterday or today? Otherwise, I did see a lot of propaganda both ways from the Egg Day. There was a flurry of videos telling you why eggs are going to clog your arteries and give you heart attacks, and other videos telling you that they're the healthiest and best food you can eat. Once again, divided right down the middle, our side and their side. I think that that's something we're stuck with. It's just part of being human, I guess. I've known people like that. I mean, they just like to disagree with you. They don't even have an opinion. If you say one thing, they'll immediately chime in with the opposite. I knew one person like that. I used to hit him with the opposite right off the bat, and then he'd come back with my point of view, and I agree with him, and we'd be done with it. Let's see. We got Juan is here from Chile. Hello, Juan. How are you? Good to see you. Buenos noches, carniveros. No translation needed there. And Boyd Lamb is here. Hiya, Boyd. Jody, Drone Shots, my buddy. Always chimes in early. Good to see you, Jody. How you doing? How you doing? And Rosie is here tonight. Hi, Mitch and friends. Janice. Childers from South Florida. Good to see you. And Rosie and Janice are talking. And Coco is here. Hiya, Coco. Good to see you. Says hello to everybody. And Mr. Richard Williams is here from Copper Hill, Tennessee. I don't know if you remember, he did tell me how he got 2 Williams in his name. He told me that Google did that to him in his email address. So he can thank Google for being Richard Williams. Julie Atkins. What brand of coffee do you use? How do you want me to answer that? You want me to sound like a coffee connoisseur, sophisticated, or do you want me to tell you the truth? Basically, the cheapest shit they got on sale at Sam's Club. And it's not bad. I use the K-cups now. Used to make a pot of coffee, and I'd end up drinking the whole pot, which was like 8 cups of coffee in a day, and I didn't want to do that, so I got a little Keurig machine. You know, those little machines that always has the blinking light that tells you that you need to, what do they call that? Where they get the buildup. And you have to run vinegar or whatever that solution is through them. I got one of those, and I have two different kinds of K-Cups. And at Sam's Club, they have a house brand regular coffee, which is pretty good. It's not bad. And it costs like $25 or $26 for 100 K-Cups. So it's fairly cheap. I like the McCafe, the McDonald's K-Cups. They're about $40 for 100, and I use those decaf ones. And occasionally, if they're on sale, they'll be on sale for like $28. I'll pick up a couple of cases of those in the regular and the decaf, and I like those coffee. And that coffee tastes like it's got a little salt in it, too. And if you haven't tried it, sometimes a little bit of salt in coffee really adds to the flavor of it, especially when you don't use any creamer or anything else. And yes, it's been a coffee kind of day. Remind me never again to make a video with the title, the last words of which are, "What do you think?" Coffee or no coffee? What do you think? Well, I can count on you guys for telling me what you think, because I've been answering comments all day long, reading what you think. So I guess that's good. Juan says, even if there's any problem with coffee, I will not drop the coffee. I'm with you. And between you and me, and I hope I made the point in that video, I think we're making just too big a deal out of coffee or no coffee. Maybe it has a small effect in one way or another if you're sensitive to something. And some people in the comments today told me that coffee gives them migraines. Well, if you have that problem where coffee gives you migraines, then there's your answer, But if coffee doesn't give you migraines and doesn't play havoc with your system, and I know I tried giving it up for a while and didn't notice any difference, I drink it. What's much more important is the rest of what you do. Whether you're moving enough, exercising a little bit, staying true to eating adequate fat and protein, staying away from the carbs, the addictive carbs. And if some people who are 90%, 95% carnivore, and every once in a while they have some broccoli or a Brussels sprout, more power to you. We don't have the carnivore police that are going to come knocking on your door to make sure that if you call yourself a carnivore, that you're not eating any Brussels sprouts or broccoli. I think that we just take it too far sometimes with that, with the labels we put on this stuff. As far as the carbs go, some especially higher fiber vegetables are not addictive at all. I think that we would have to look long and far to find anybody who identified as a broccoli addict. I don't think that exists. I think you can get addicted to grains. Absolutely. You can get addicted to sugars. Absolutely. And that's what grains are. You can get addicted to things that taste sweet, even if they're artificial sweeteners, non-nutritive sweeteners. But I don't think too many people are getting addicted to Brussels sprouts or broccoli. What's going to throw you off of this this way of eating is not the Brussels sprouts or the broccoli. It's going to be those addictive sugar-containing substances. And in that respect, I think that's what we need to stay away from. That's my test. My test for any food that I did when I first started eating this way. Right before I decided that that was it, I'm giving up everything else. Towards the end of my keto journey a couple of years ago, I started trying to narrow down the non-carnivore foods to a few different foods I could eat. And the test was, could I eat them without eating more of them afterwards? Never had a problem with the broccoli or the Brussels sprouts. But the blueberries were my downfall. Could not eat one little cup of blueberries. It always led to an out of control, and I'll use the word binge, where I had to eat every last blueberry in the house that I could find, and that usually meant pounds of them. And nuts. I thought I could eat a few walnuts, maybe a few pecans. No. I had already given up almonds because of the just sheer ridiculous amount of cyanide in them. But I just, when I finally left carnivore plus broccoli or Brussels sprouts, and I don't even like those things, I said, why the hell am I still eating these fiber-containing vegetables that are playing havoc with my gut? And that's when I made the decision last August 1st, 2 years ago in 2022. I said, that's it, no more plant food. Now, I always drank the coffee, but I did cut back 2-3 cups a day. This is my 3rd cup today, and I never drink coffee in the later than the early afternoon, except on Tuesday and Thursday nights when I do my live stream. And this is decaf, and it has never stopped me from going to sleep either on Tuesday or Thursday night after this is over. So if it doesn't present a problem and you don't think it hurts you, and it adds just a little enjoyment back into your life, a little comfort, a little relaxation, whatever the benefits of it are, you're entitled, as long as it doesn't screw you up. I did get a comment today from somebody who said, it's been carnivore for, I think it was 7 months, drinks coffee, hasn't lost a pound. Carnivore for 7 months, hasn't lost a pound, I read so many comments, I'm trying to remember the numbers, 60 pounds he wants to lose, maybe. And he's blaming it on the coffee. So he said, I'm going to give up the coffee and hopefully the weight will start to come off. I'd be interested to see. I haven't really heard of anybody saying that they didn't lose any weight until they gave up the coffee. I haven't heard that. Could be. Who knows? You never know what might be doing it. I did suggest in a reply to him that he watch Ken Berry's video entitled 13 Reasons Why your weight loss has stalled on carnivore, or 13 Reasons Why you might not be losing weight on. Anyway, you'll find it with a Google search. And he goes over a number of different conditions or imbalances or other things or types of food that you may be eating because you just haven't been doing it long enough or haven't got yourself enough education yet about this to know if you're doing it right, wrong, or otherwise. But it was a video I've been planning to make for a while, and I just thought I'd make it today. There are thousands of videos on YouTube. And if you go into the YouTube and the search bar and you say, is coffee good for you? You'll get hundreds of videos. And then you can type, is coffee bad for you? You'll get hundreds of videos. And you can delve, if you really feel like going that deep down the rabbit hole, you can delve into whether is it the coffee or is it the caffeine? Is it some other chemical in the coffee that really makes it bad for you? Huberman leans towards it's the caffeine that's bad, and then everybody says, well, then why? Then it'd probably be okay to drink decaf. Well, what kind of decaf? What is the method used to decaffeinate the coffee? There are some methods better or worse than others. I don't drink enough of it, or I worry about the minutia like that. Just like I don't worry about the fact that the bacon I buy is cured with a small amount of sugar, which doesn't account to any carbohydrates on the label. I don't worry about it. And I lost all this weight eating that bacon, and I don't get urges and cravings by eating all of that bacon, about a half a pound a day. So my body is telling me that whatever, if there even is a tiny little bit of sugar, a gram or two in a half a pound of bacon, it's not hindering the way I feel, my joint pain, which is completely gone, my ability, my energy level, my sharpness in my brain. Would I be 0.5% better without it? Maybe, but you got to live. You still have to live. There's, locking yourself up, welding yourself into a steel box may be perfect as far as an environment goes where nothing can hurt you, but it's no life. And we have to live. We have to live. So who else we got here? Naruto Kun is here. How you doing? Good to see you. And Viking 442. That's Tom. Hi, Tom. How are you? Josephine C is here. Julie Atkins. Hi, Julie. What brand of coffee do you use? I told you that maybe you will try to acquire a taste for black coffee. Didn't you just leave me a comment that said you don't like black coffee? Maybe you meant to say, maybe I will. And I answered you, it's an acquired taste, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I usually go for the cheapest stuff. Sometimes I think that I might want to try the gourmet route. I got a little coffee bean grinder I've had for a long time. And in my little Keurig thing, it came with a K-cup that has a metal mesh filter in it, and you use your own coffee in it. You don't have to buy the K-cups, you can just use regular ground coffee. So I thought maybe I'd experiment, send off for some of these coffees that are supposed to be produced in an organic manner with no glyphosates and all that. First of all, you got to find one that you can even believe. Because they're all making these claims and putting all this crap on the labels, which makes you think it's exactly what you're looking for, but half of it is fraud anyway. It's just stuff on a label, especially eggs, pasture-raised, cage-free, organic. Bullshit, most of that, and if you want to find out how they get away with it, just find yourself a video on YouTube that talks about the USDA regulations for what you can and can't do to use some of these buzzwords on your food labels. And it'll blow your mind how little you really have to do to slap the word organic on your label. Or it's organic garbage, most of it. Same thing with the chickens, with the cage-free and the free range. It's absurd. Wherever there's a system with rules, there will always be those people that game it. There are always those people that apply for disability benefits that are not disabled. There are always those people that game everything, that cheat on the tests. So just because it says it, don't believe it. So I'm going to start looking around for a really high-class coffee that I can, and it'll probably be expensive, but yeah, I'll buy a pound of it, and I'll grind it up and make some. Of course, now, if I get coffee like that, now I have to buy the right equipment, because I'm sure I'd be frowned upon using high-class coffee like that in my Keurig coffee maker. I would need a French press, and not just any French press, but I would have to research it. I would have to go on YouTube, and I would have to start reading reviews of French press coffee makers, and I would have to not only investigate the French press, but I would have to investigate the reviewer to find out if he was being paid by the maker of this French press to give it a positive review. So it never ends. It never ends. At the end, all we can do is, use our best judgment. And I have a funny feeling that if I went all through that and got exactly the right coffee and bought exactly the right French press and bought a device to heat the water to exactly the right temperature, to 1/10 of a degree, and learned how to use it all and made the perfect cup of coffee, and eagerly brought that cup to my mouth and said, this is, I've done it. This is going to be the best coffee that I've ever had in my life. Tastes like that same shit that I got at Sam's Club. I'm afraid that's what might happen. So, but it would be another adventure, and that's what life is. That's what life is. Life is adventures. Tammy is here. Hiya, Tammy. How you doing? She says, hi all. Mark C. is here. Says, good evening, folks. I see Linda Price is here, waving at us. Tina Schweikerath. I think I got that right. So glad to catch you live. Well, it's great to see you. And Brenda McIntyre is here. Hey, Mitch says, good evening, everyone. And here we have Richard CDL Driver. Don't know what that means. Good evening, Richard. How you doing? Lambs is here. How you doing, Lambs? Mitchellarians. Is that what you guys are? Cool. I like that. And we have Alexi K. How you doing? Nice jazz. Greetings from Finland. 3 a.m. here. Go to bed, man. What are you doing up? I'm flattered. Either I'm flattered or you're an insomniac. One of the two. Thanks for coming. Good to see you. This is Mark talking to everybody. And I see Boyd Lamb is still here. Finland, he says. Julie Atkins, I see you drinking your coffee. Yes, I am, Julie. It's one of my simple pleasures, that and the cigar. And you guys have been very good about that and accepted me for what I am and cigar at all, and I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. I get very little, pardon the pun, heat anymore about that. I think people just went away and stayed away. And who is this? RZOUAIN. Is that RZO? I won't even try. Good evening from Miami. Always good to see you, my friend. And Bama J is here, always saying, boy, oh boy. Yeah, that was it. Homeboy. Yeah. And I think when you say homeboy, you got to do You got to do one of these things, I think. How does that work? Is it like this, maybe? That may be culture. That's not my culture. And I'm almost through the beginning of the chat, trying to catch some of the people that were here. Oscar Rodriguez, it's great to see you. By the way, I love your Monday rants. That's great. That's great. I didn't rant a whole lot on Monday. I was in a great mood on Monday. I was in a great mood because filming that video that I filmed on Sunday at that miniature golf course, it was so nice out there. It was so gorgeous. The temperature was perfect. There wasn't a soul around. And it's so pretty. They really, got to hand it to them. They really do a nice job of maintaining that and the landscaping there. And it's just a great place, and it gives me a chance to do one of my favorite things, and that is cinematography. It's a part of what I love. Filmmaking. I've always loved that. I've always loved filmmaking and editing and creating something visually pretty that tells a story as well as just talking. And I don't get a chance to exercise that very much in Carnivore. And that usually involves more than one camera, a lot of cuts, a lot of changes of scenes, a lot of what they call establishing shots, which are further back and then in close. And if you've never paid attention to that kind of thing, next time you watch a movie, not the whole movie, but just for a short period of time during that movie, pay attention to every time they change a shot from one angle to another angle to a wide back shot to a close-up shot, and count how many seconds there are between the changes of shots, and you'll be amazed to notice that they change the shot every few seconds. Very rarely do they dwell with the same exact camera angle and shot for any more than 5-10 seconds at the most. And that adds so much interest that I think that accounts for why people watch that video much longer than they usually do. They hung in there. They didn't click away. They didn't get bored because I gave them something pretty to look at while they were listening to me ramble on, which can get boring. I don't care how interesting what I'm saying is. It just, I can put myself to sleep sometimes. But switching from a wide shot to a close-up to my feet to something different, to a duck walking by, to something of pretty in nature that's relevant to what we're talking about. That's filmmaking. That's cinematography. And I love to do that. It doubles the work editing because you have to use multiple cameras. You have to sync all of them up in the editor. You have to chop them up, go back and forth between them. It's tricky. I did the same thing to a lesser extent in the Monday morning rant when I was outside, if you noticed. There were some shots where you could see me holding the selfie stick in my hand. That was from a different camera. That was from a 360 camera that was just sitting on the ground over by my electric box out there behind my house. And I could cut to it and show you a full body shot of me walking around talking into a stick. And then I would, after a few seconds of that, I would cut back to the portrait shot of me where you didn't see the stick because that's from the camera I was talking into it. Back and forth it does add some interest. And I'm going to try to do more of that. And I even did and I hope this isn't boring you because this is what I love. It's this stuff that makes this interesting for me to keep doing. But just for fun tonight, I set up my notebook computer over here, right alongside me. And I went ahead and logged it in to the stream, and now I have a side shot of me, and I could switch back and forth if I want from the front shot to the side shot. And you see people do it. You see people do it on the news all the time. They'll go, "Well, John, the weather today is pretty good, and we're going to see how well that works out later." And they'll say something to this camera, and they'll turn to that camera, and they'll switch cameras just to add the interest of making the shot look different. So I'm going to try to add more of that stuff into my videos and see if they don't get a little more visually interesting than just seeing a talking head. And I find, and I said it in that video, that unfortunately, no matter how brilliant the speech is or interesting the information is, they lose me after a certain amount of time of just looking into a camera and talking. And I'm sure that I'm maybe lose some people doing that too. That's why I love doing the kitchen things, because you got something to look at. You see the bacon sizzling in the pan. You see me beating eggs, walking around, going to the refrigerator. It's may not be thrilling action, but it is action nonetheless. It's something happening. And when you go for a walk outside, you get to see the neighborhood go by. You get to see a pretty day and see some nature. And I am probably going to continue to scope out some locations when I come up with a subject I want to talk about, a location that would complement that particular subject and add some visually pleasing visuals, and maybe from time to time even a little music to set a mood or an emotion, and exercise whatever little talent I have in cinematography before I lose it completely. Okay, now what I'm going to do, Nadine Stachon, how you doing? Hello, I'm a coffee drinker like Mitch. Yeah, there's a lot of coffee drinkers and an amazing number of cigar smokers among you guys out there. And even a few of you gals have come back in and told me that you like cigars, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's certainly healthier than cigarette smoking. And even if you smoke cigarettes, if you've been smoking all your life and you can't give them up, and you want to be carnivore, you can still be a carnivore. And believe me, the benefits of the new food you're eating will help protect you against some of the risks of smoking. It's not going to completely immunize you, but I'm a true believer that when it comes to cancer, as they're discovering, it's mainly a metabolic disorder. And when you're not eating the sugar, and you've got your weight under control, and you've got your diabetes, you've removed so many of the risks that there's a good chance that it won't kill you. And if you can give it up, give it up. If it wasn't for the fact that I don't inhale these cigars and I enjoy them, I think the risk is much less. And whatever risk it is, I'll take it. I'll take it because I still want to live. I still want to have a few things in life that are relaxing, because there's sure enough stuff out there to upset you these days and stress you out. Janice Childers, how you doing? What's the name of your coffee, Mitch, from Costco? It's Sam's Club. Sam's Club's what I use, and it's just there. It just says House Blend on it, I think. Comes in a yellow. The K cups have a yellow top. It's like 25, $26 for a big box. I think it's 100, maybe 95 or 100 K cups in it. That's probably the cheapest thing I do is drink coffee. Costco has an equivalent to it. Their equivalent may be made in exactly the same factory. There are so many things that are private labeled, especially among the big retailers, the Targets, the Costcos, the Walmarts, that are all contracted out to the same factories that are using exactly the same product in an incredibly similar package with a different label on it. But you can pretty well bet that a lot of the Members Mark stuff that you see in Sam's Club are made in probably the same place as the whatever the name of that brand that Costco has. I hardly ever go to Costco anymore. In fact, I let my membership expire because I like my Sam's Club here. It's much less crowded. I can get in early at 8 o'clock with my membership, which I can't do at Costco. So I can go in there, and you've seen me shopping in there. If you've watched some of those videos, and you can see that I have the store to myself, and I love that. Costco is a madhouse here where I live, and it's further away. But I do get my glasses and found the Costco optical. So right before I'm ready to get new glasses, I'm going to probably renew my Costco membership, but until then, I don't need it. And interestingly enough, and this is amazing to me, my eyes are getting better. My prescription that I need is getting weaker, not stronger. I find these glasses I've had for probably 10 months, and I find that when I watch TV, sometimes, even though it's a 4K TV, sometimes I have a hard time reading the small text, like when you're looking for a YouTube video. And I find that when I take my glasses off and look at the TV, the text is sharp as a tack. Problem I have is twofold. I have a slight astigmatism, which I need to correct. Otherwise, I see double. And I have what they call prism correction, which means one of my eyes sees a little higher than the other. So my glasses have to have opposite prisms in them to bring them together. So when I take my glasses off, I see one image directly above another, because that's the way my brain, and then if I continue, my brain will actually bring those images together. But that causes a lot of eye strain if I continue to do it long enough. So my new glasses later this year, when I get them, will probably still need the astigmatism correction, still need the prism correction, but I think the magnification will be much less. Does that mean my lenses are softening up again? Maybe. Whatever it is, my floaters, I used to have eye floaters all over, they're all gone. All my little friends, they don't come visit me anymore. So since I went carnivore and stopped eating all the sugar and other crap, it has done wonders for my eyes, and that's not uncommon. If you watch any of Lisa Wiedemann's videos, she's an eye doctor, especially when it comes to things like macular degeneration. This diet is a godsend for that. So just another one of the benefits. All right, if anybody has a question for me, a couple of capital Q's or the word question in caps, and I'll see if I can't pick it out. I'm going to, let me show you a little something on my screen here. I want you to see that. I've been looking at this. There's a chat right here on this screen. And this is the chat that when I click on it, it puts the message up on the screen. See that? This chat over here is the actual chat showing up from YouTube. This is a lot easier for me to read. I get more of it on one page than I do over here because here each one takes up multiple lines. I also get all the good YouTube stuff like my name showing up in red when somebody puts at Old Guy Carnivore in there. Mitch Rosie has a question, says Tom. So what I'm going to do is I have been perusing down this chat from the top just to say hi to people and throw your names up on the screen because I know everybody likes to see their name on the screen, but I can't do that when I'm over here on this chat. So I'm going to go over to this chat. I'm going to go down to the bottom. Keaton has a question. Mitch, will you read the chat? I read the chat when I watch the replay. I always read the entire chat just because it's a riot. And Tammy, I see here, QQQ talk to Rosie, Mitch. Keaton has a question, Mitch. Let's see if I can find that. I don't know, how far back does that go, Rosie? Because there's been a lot of chatting going on. But from here on out, if you have a question, put the cues in there. They stand out pretty well when I kind of scan over it. Tom says I need a cowbell. I don't have a cowbell. What have I got here? What's this? I got, I got that. It's not a cowbell though. What's this one? I got a rim shot. What else I got here? I haven't taken a lot of time to learn all these sound effects. I like that one. Yeah. Like that one. Got crickets. You know who likes, Bart K uses the crickets a lot. Now that's just annoying. I've used that one before. The abrupt stop. Anyway, got my mixer working finally. Sound levels hopefully tonight are beautiful. The music wasn't distorted or too loud, and we're sneaking up on professional show business. Mitch is having his own conversation, says Tammy. Seems like it. I wonder if Mitch already has a cowbell in there. No, Mark, no cowbell. I actually have a cowbell. Okay, bring it on to the show Thursday, Rosie. And Thursday night, private community, which it looks like most of you guys are already in because I see a lot of green in there. Appreciate that. We have a great time on Thursday night. I'm looking for that question. Rose Borgman says she used to smoke cigars. Pretty good. Mitch, question. Kelton has a question. I don't see. Okay, here we go. Mitch, question for Keaton. Above me. Okay, we're sneaking up on it. A Keaton carnivore. Hey, I found it. All right, no cues though. Let's see if we can't answer this question. And it says, in the beginning of my carnivore journey. Now I could try to find that question over in this other chat, but that'd take a while. So, and put it up on the screen for you. But there's so many in here. I'll just read it to you. It says, in the beginning of my carnivore journey, I would stop eating when it tasted bad. Well, that signal is not happening anymore. I'm always hungry, and when I eat, I just get gorged or stuffed. Wow. I've never had that happen to me. Are you eating just protein and fat? It says carnivore in your name. I'm always hungry. When I eat, I just get gorged or stuffed. That may be something else. If something like that happens that is way out of the norm for what most of us experience, I can speak for myself and most people I've talked to on carnivore who say you can just eat so much. And one of the problems, more common problems with carnivore is that I think that, I guess you get tired of looking at the back of my head. I think that a lot of people still have other problems. And Ken Berry, when you listen to guys like that or Chafee, they'll say that when somebody comes up with a question like this, they'll be very definitive in their answer and say, that doesn't sound like it has anything to do with carnivore. There's something else going on. I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you what else might be going on. The only thing that I can think of that comes to mind, and it's not a joke, but maybe a possibility, and probably not in your case, would be something like a tapeworm or something screwing with your digestion, or something somewhere. I don't know how heavy you are. I don't know what shape your fat cells are in, whether you're diabetic or not, how much weight you have to lose. But in order for your hunger to be satisfied, a hormone called leptin has to be produced, and it's produced in the fat cells. So if there's some kind of dysfunction in either the production of the leptin, or you have somehow become insensitive, your receptors are not recognizing the leptin, which is exactly what happens when you become insulin resistant. And I have heard of people who do become leptin resistant, and their appetite doesn't get satiated in a normal way. The other hormone that's involved in the hunger satiety homeostasis, where everything is in balance, for example, you have insulin and glucagon. These two hormones work opposite from each other, and triggering either fat storage or using fat. And you have the leptin ghrelin balance, which is the balance between hunger and satiety. And it may be there is a physiological problem somewhere, something that would take an endocrinologist and one who isn't brainwashed, unfortunately, to the healthy whole grain style of eating. But it is not a normal reaction to stuffing your face with fat and protein. Fat is the main thing that's going to trigger this leptin, which is why it's important. And it may be something as simple as the fact that you are not eating enough fat. Maybe the first thing you could try before you start trying to find a doctor or somebody, some rocket scientist that might be able to diagnose this, is make sure you're eating 70%, even maybe 80% of your calories every day from fat. That would mean eggs, a lot more eggs, because eggs have pretty much the correct fat to protein ratio built into them. A lot of 70-30 burger, where after you cook it, you take and pour all the grease from the pan back over the hamburger like sauce, and make sure you slurp all that up. And maybe give that a try. And I think that's probably the best answer I can give you. So I hope that was adequate. But again, I'm not, I know what I know. I know more than so many of them do, but I'm not credentialed to give anybody any advice other than in theory. So there was my theory. Okay, I don't see any references to any other questions other than that one. And thank you, Rosie, for pointing that out to me. You guys are talking to each other. Digestive issues. Ellen's talking to Mark. Eating the fat on a steak. The fat fills me up with protein. I have to stop eating. Guys are talking about your bad experiences with the doctors. The protein will always follow the fat. Guys are talking to each other. Question. Doggo says, question, do you ever do live interviews? You know, I've stayed away. I have been on, how many, guys? 3 or 4? 3 or 4 in almost 10 months now. They were pre-recorded. They were live where we were talking to each other live, but it was recorded and then released later. I don't think any of them were live streams, although the one I did with Carnivore's grandma with Robin Heron might have been live. I don't remember, but I've only done a couple. I think I did a live stream. I did a live stream with Curry, Homestead How. Must have been 6-7 months ago. That's on my channel. You can find it. It was a great interview. We got along great. I did an interview with Bart K. way back. That was a lot of fun. I like Bart. He's an interesting guy. I did an interview with Larry, the carnivore soldier, and I did an interview with Robin Heron, carnivorous grandma, and I think that's about it. I don't seek these out like so many YouTubers in our space do. I just don't. I don't disagree, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with doing these interviews. I think a lot of people do these interviews, try to get the biggest, most famous guys they can. And they know that that'll attract attention to them, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I had kind of a different philosophy, and basically that was I'm just going to pretty much do my own thing. Try to build a community. It's worked so far. I've put together a nice bunch of subscribers for the short time I've been doing this. And if anybody were to contact me, and other than somebody that was obvious to me was trying to play, and I'm not a big guy here, but compared to some, I'm a big guy with over 30,000 subscribers. That makes this little channel somewhat substantial compared to so many others. I don't want to be the guy they use to try to grow their channel. That's not why I do this. And I don't do that to grow my channel. But I tell you, my friend Evan Moffat, carnivore rabbi, who's become a friend of mine, we talk. I noticed today that he actually had an interview with Anthony Chafee. And I'm saying to and he's a relatively new YouTuber. He's got less than 2,000 subscribers, and he's on with Anthony Chafee. And I'm saying to myself, how the hell did he get Chafee? But I am not going to call him and say, how did that happen? And try to get Chafee for me to interview. I'm not going to do that. But if Anthony Chafee were to send me an email and say, I heard about you, Mitch. You know, you're one of the oldest guys on here. You're an example, which is why I'm doing this. I'd like to interview you. I would jump at the chance. Certainly, I admire that guy. Same thing with Ken Berry. I got a shout out from Ken Berry. I still haven't asked him to let me interview him or anything like that. Same thing with Sean Baker or any of these guys. If I get an email from them or their people and they see something in me that they think might enhance their efforts, I of course would be happy. And that's why I agreed to do the interviews that I have done so far, because I admired the people that asked me, and I did it. Mark says we got to get Mitch on Chafee's channel. I'd rather have Chafee on my channel. I would be exposed a lot more if I had him, if I was on his channel, that's for sure. And that's okay. That's okay. Either way. I see we've got Jonathan Bags Packed Family here from Indonesia. How you doing, Jonathan? Good to see you. He's been a regular, and we've talked, and he is coming back. He's coming back from Indonesia. Is it June? Or July? Coming to Florida. We're going to get together. And he's a big YouTuber. He's got a couple 100,000 plus subscribers. That's why if you look in the chat, you see his name is grayed out with the check mark. That means big shot. Big shot. Jonathan, I'm so humble. I'm humbled. I think you might be the biggest shot YouTuber that subscribes to me. I think you have more subscribers than any other single subscriber that I have. That's flattering to me. And the good news is you don't come off as an egomaniac. You're just a great guy. I mean, I can tell that by talking to you. Humble. And I'm really looking forward to meeting you. But anyway, he's going to be living in Alaska and coming back to, and if you're not following he's got great videos. The only problem I have with Jonathan's videos is that they're always eating. He's got 3 kids and a wife, and they're in Vietnam, they're in Thailand, and they're any kind of street food they run across, they're stuffing their faces with it. And he's trying to be a carnivore, but he's trying to make YouTube videos, and he has to eat some of the strangest stuff. I mean, I would, ugh, the yuck factor in some of the foods they eat is crazy. But he's got a very interesting channel. I watch a lot of his videos, and you'd enjoy it. You'd enjoy it. What he's going to do is he's going to come into Florida, go to the Keys, come up past where I live, and then they're going to be going driving, I guess, all the way to Alaska and filming the journey and making a series of that trip on their YouTube channel across America. And I'm sure that'll be a fabulous travelogue. So I'm looking forward to that. Question here from Doggo. I should have been clear. I'm thinking more about you as the interviewer host. You are a legend. Well, thank you, my friend. And could talk about anything with whoever you get on, not just carnivore. I think about that. I think about that, and in the context of talking to people in our private community on Thursday night, any member of the private community can come on, and we talk like long lost friends on there. We have a great time. And we talk about wild subjects that wander far from the subject of carnivore, and we have a great time. So everybody. It says here, Evan, the carnivore rabbi, is in the house. Evan Boychik. In case you don't know, I'm Jewish. Boychik is an endearment that parents and grandparents call their little kids. It kind of translates roughly to cute little boy or Boychik, Evan, how the hell did you get an interview with Anthony Chafee? Not that I'm jealous or anything, but what a surprise. And I haven't watched it. I missed it live, and I saw it popped up as a replay, but I had to get ready for this live stream, so I'm going to watch it later. But man, look at you. That was a big score, and I hope you do real well. I hope you get a lot of attention from that. I don't view any other carnivore YouTuber, any of them, as competition. I don't. Maybe some people do, but I don't. I root hard that everybody in this space succeeds and help spread the message and get more viewers. And if his channel overtakes my channel at some time in the future, Mazel Tov. That's another Yiddish word. Means good luck, more power to you. That would thrill me to see someone as articulate as he out there spreading this message as well. So he also says, I just emailed him. Seriously, he said, I got that, Evan, I got that, hello, my friend Boychik. That's the greatest thing about doing what I'm doing is some of the people, not just the other YouTubers, but my followers. I have met so many just great people, and this coming from a guy that basically I have no personal friends in my life, not a single friend. None of my neighbors I have anything in common with. Every friend, every one of my lifelong friends that I ever had is dead. Lost them all. Some of them I lost because they were vegans and vegetarians. But I made mention of that in one of the videos I did recently. I said, that's one of the things that I've gotten out of this. I've got thousands of friends, but a few dozen people that I've met that just click with, that just mutual admiration and respect. And I consider Evan one of them, even though we've had a video chat and a phone call or two. I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you. And you just emailed him. I don't even have his email address. I don't even bother to look for these guys' email addresses. Now, did you do the live stream on your channel or his channel? Anyway, I'll give you a call tomorrow maybe and we'll talk about it. Such cool things, bag packed. I wish I could do it. Yeah, Terry, you need to interview Brenda Gant and at least get her to stop using Crisco. Oh no, it's not my job. I'm sorry. Evan says that he just emailed him. He's so giving. He's so giving. He didn't rush anything either. I was the one who had to get off. Such a generous guy. He impresses me as exactly that. Exactly that. And he's a mainstay of what we do. And I enjoy him. I don't watch as much of him and spend as much time watching him as I did back when I began, because most of what he does is answer the same questions on these long live streams, which is great because that's what we need. We need a professor or a teacher out there that knows what he knows to keep educating these new classes that start all the time as people discover this. So there is a need, but there's no need for me to watch that same stuff about why plants are trying to kill you and all that. I've already learned from him, and I try to spread that word as well. Terry says, I watch a lot of homesteader vids. A lot of them are vegans. They have crazy gardens. Yeah, they do. And I guess if you're going to be a survivalist or one of those kind of people or homesteader, and you don't have the room or the inclination to be a rancher and raise cows and sheep, vegetables have to do. Boyd talking about being in the Philippines. Watch Jonathan's YouTube channel right under you, Julie. Bags Packed Family. You'll enjoy that. Naruto Kun likes Chafee too. Yep. I really do believe carnivore brings out the good in people. I think it does, Evan. I absolutely agree with you. I think that it changes your brain. It chills us out. It makes us, lowers anxiety, I think. I think that you see it. You don't see the activism, the anger, you don't see us marching and protesting and stomping in people's flower gardens, stomping out their plants, yelling, killer, killer. We don't do that kind of stuff. Mark says, plants make people mean. I think there's things in plants, like Mark points out, oxalates. Those things are, but it's more, I think, more responsible is the lack of fat in most vegetarians or vegans' diets. I think so much damage came from the low-fat paradigm. I think it's even, in my opinion, more responsible for so much of the damage than the sugar or the seed oils. I think that we need the fat. We've proven that to ourselves. And the fat isn't giving us heart attacks, and the fat isn't making us fat. It's making us thin. it's making our circulatory systems work good, but more important than that, it's giving our brains the building materials it needs, the fat and the cholesterol, to sheathe the neurons, insulate them, and for our brains to work better. I can tell just in myself over the past couple of years. I think I'm at 77. I think mentally I'm sharper than I have ever been in my life. It's usually supposed to be the other way around. I'm supposed to be forgetting everything. Even that word I tried to remember before, I remember it now. Talking about my coffee maker. The word I was looking for was descale my coffee maker. That shows me that my subconscious mind and my memory is working. You ever notice, we have a saying called, it's on the tip of my tongue. You know it. The name of an actor, something not important to you, but you know, but you just can't remember. You just can't recall it. The harder you try, the further out of your grasp it gets. This is a normal reaction. This is what happened to me earlier when I was looking for that word, descale. And there's something I learned a long time ago about the power of the subconscious. Is the subconscious is like a computer. Sometimes you have to give the computer a task, just go away. And when the computer's ready, it'll throw you back the answer. And we've all had this happen to us, and this is a very real thing, and that is you're trying to remember something, you can't remember it. You can't remember shit. The harder you try, the further away it gets. So you say, hell. And then a few minutes later, maybe 10, 15 minutes later, it just pops into your head. Boom. Just comes to you. Well, that's not an accident. That's your subconscious working. You gave it a job. And it did the job, and it returned the answer to your conscious. And it popped into your head just like the word descale. And that happens to me all the time. So sometimes if you're trying really hard to remember something, just trust your subconscious. Forget about it for the moment. Go on to something else. Before you know it, what you were trying to remember will pop right into your head. And I'm sure a lot of you will agree you've had the same responses. Rosie, are you gone? Did Rosie say good night? God, so much. Good night, everyone. I need my beauty sleep. All right, Rosie, if you're already gone, I missed you. See you Thursday night. Good night, Rosie. Mark had a nightmare. I was eating a salad, Tom says. That's good. Josephine. Not sure the carnivore rabbi. I feel like I'm getting a potty mouth, and when I say these weird feelings, I don't get that. The goat is the most common farm meat source around the world. Maybe homesteaders could farm goats. Yeah, a lot of people eat goats. Sheep as well. Florida. I just became acquainted. Her name is Kathy, and she also goes by the hand. I hope you don't mind me spilling the beans on you there, Kathy, but it was nice to get an email from somebody that has two different names that I recognized and didn't realize they were the same person. And she is also Pond Apple. So now I know who that is, and I'm happy to know that. I like to know who the person is behind some of these names that don't even give a clue. So now you're talking about goat milk. Larry L. Larry L says, enjoy your videos. I'm a landsman. And for those of you that aren't of the Jewish persuasion, landsman means countryman. And nice to meet you, Larry. There's another thing that I've told you all before is that sometimes you'll hear two Jewish people refer to themselves as a MOT. MOT. Oh, you're a member of the tribe? That's what MOT means. Member of the tribe. because in the Jewish faith, there were 12 tribes of Israel. And all of the Jewish people in the world are descendants of one of those 12 tribes and refer to each other as members of the tribe. So we still do that to this day. Doggo, good to see you live, old guy. 2:20 a.m. here in the UK. You guys are nuts. Go to bed. We'll look out for the next one. Thanks for answering my question. Anytime, my friend. And listen, thanks so much for visiting from England. Good to see you. Always nice to see people from around the world. You guys talking about rabbits. What is a chook? I Julie, chicken. Chicken is a chook. When I don't understand all that. I agree. About the sugar, about the vegan takeover of the cardiology world. You think? After that video I made about your little soiree into that, I'm sure you investigated more. Was it you who told me in a comment or somebody else that they saw exactly the same handout from many other cardiologists who evidently are also affiliated deeply with the Adventist health system and their propaganda? But that's scary. That's scary. Jonathan, when we get to Alaska this August, I hope to buy a cow share. Cool. Cool. Fred, that's too much information. Changing diapers. Mitch, you are sharp and seem to have a lot of energy. Well, thank you. Thank you. I like to think I'm sharp. I feel like there isn't much that gets past me these days. Maybe. And you all know I've told you so many times about my illustrious business life and how many times I had disasters. I think maybe had I been a carnivore back then and just a little sharper than I was, maybe some of that shit wouldn't have happened to me. But it did. It did, and here I am. And what most of you don't know, and I haven't really ever gotten into it, is the almost eight-year recovery and comeback that I personally made, the struggle to come back from a disaster that I'm surprised didn't have me taking my own life. It's deeply personal what I went through. And I never thought I'd have any kind of a life again. I never thought that I would ever mentally recover from the beating that I took over and over and over again throughout the course of my life, building something up only to lose it, building it up again only to lose it. You can only come back so many times. And the last time that it happened to me, back in 2005 and 6, I swore I was done. I was done. My kids, my son stepped in and pretty well rescued me, brought me over to the coast here where he lived because he was afraid that I would do something dangerous. And it was a hard road back, but I did it. And nobody today who knows me could even imagine the sheer levels of depression and desperation that I suffered through in those years. It's a hell of a story. It's a hell of a story, and it's a comeback story. And I'm proud of the fact that I was able to get back up again and building a new life for myself again, because I never thought it would happen. And this little, if you go back to some of my first carnivore videos on YouTube, you'll see it in me, and you'll hear it in my voice when I thanked everybody for what it meant to me to actually have people follow me and support me, and that was all heartfelt, and I meant that. And as I have recovered and gotten back my old personality, my old sense of humor, my arrogance, somewhat, my ability to recognize the bullshit and not take any of it, the strength that I used to have tremendous strength, not physical strength, but will, strong will. And I've gotten that back now. And this community is primarily responsible for that. And I owe everybody that debt of gratitude. And I do want to tell the story. I don't know if I'm ready to tell it yet, but at some point in the future, I'll make a video about what I consider the comeback. I mean, I wasn't quite homeless yet, but close. And when I see these homeless people on, in their 60s on the street, that could have been me so easily. Fortunately, I have children that didn't let that happen. Those kids, if those kids hadn't have been there for me, I would not be here today. And it's a hell of a story. But I never forget what it meant to me, the support that you guys gave me when I started this thing, and the support I continue to get from you all. And I hope you realize what it means now and what it has meant in what I think is an unbelievable comeback story for me. So thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you for being here. Let's see. Lamb has a very strong flavor. Yes. Let's see. I'm sure it's painful, but I think your story would also be very inspiring. Thank you, Jonathan. Sometimes it surprises me. It even surprises me, but it might help you understand a little bit about some of my idiosyncrasies and quirks, let's say. And you'll definitely understand why I do not react well to certain attitudes from certain types of people, where people say, well, just let it roll off your back. Don't let it bother you. And I say to myself, if you only knew what I went through, what I've been through, you would understand why that stuff gets under my skin so quickly. I've even thought that I suffer, although I never went to try to have it diagnosed. I've always thought that I must have some form of PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome. That stress doesn't have to be somebody shooting at you. It doesn't have to be a war. It could be the stress from people shooting at you with lawyers. And trying to ruin you and take what you have, because too long a story. I can't tell it now. But actually, you'd understand why sometimes I get a little impatient with some of these people that criticize me for something that means nothing. The best is still to come, Mitch, says Oscar. Thank you, Oscar. Thank you so much. Thank all you guys. Boyd says, we have Sam's, Mark, but just join Costco you'll find, I think, boy, that if your Costco's anything like ours, it's a friggin' madhouse. Stress is real. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, listen, guys, I'm not going to go a full 2 hours tonight. I think we've been hour and 35 minutes is probably enough. Naruto, thank you so much for that, sweetie. I really appreciate that. Yes, stress hurts. Yeah, it does. It ruins you, and it makes you so, it makes you like a scared cat hiding in a corner. Everything waiting for that next thing that's going to strike and cause you more problems when you haven't solved the problems from yesterday yet. And it's not anything I'd wish on anybody. But it happens. It happens. It happens to people. It happens to people. And I don't want to get into politics now, but there's examples of that kind of attack, that kind of desire to ruin somebody who is a good person going on in front of my face every day whenever I turn on the TV or even look at social media. And that goes straight to my heart and triggers me. And I feel those old things where to be persecuted for things that you didn't do because somebody just could. Because somebody could. I have very little respect for most lawyers. And unfortunately, when you dealt with the kind of money that I did, when things went wrong, then you had to deal with the lawyers. That went on for years. Guys, I want to end this on a happy note and not a note like that, but I have it in my notes to do that video, to do a video about that. And I just haven't gotten up the mood yet. Let's say that I think it might be depressing to dredge some of that stuff up. But for any of you people that think that I'm just fat and happy, living high on the hog, never had a problem, you don't need to worry about that. You don't need to worry about that. Tammy, sounds like Tammy, she feels, yeah, I feel you, Mitch. She's probably, I know that there are stories out there among you guys that rival mine. I know that surviving that type of fire forges your resolve and changes who you are and how you deal with the world. And I know it's changed me. And I give a lot of credit to learning how to finally eat the right foods and get healthy again. Because there's nothing worse than going through all that and feeling like shit physically at the same time. So it's great. It's great. Mark says he loves talking politics. For my own mental health, I try not to dwell on things or get too angry about things that I personally cannot affect any change, where I can't affect any change whatsoever. And I've learned long ago that, yeah, I got to vote, but about the most I can have is an opinion. And that's about all I can do. And I also learned that most people have their opinions already, and that's why religion and politics are two subjects to stay away from. Randy K, stay positive, Mitch. Let them old bones. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Randy. Tammy says, have a wonderful night all. Same to you. Same to you, Tammy. And we need a time machine. I don't know if I want to go back in time. And I don't know if I'd want to be 20 years old in this world today. I think our generation, my generation, may have lived, the generation that the baby boomers, the ones that came right at the close of World War II. I think that generation lived in what will go down in history as absolutely the best time in the history of the human race, with the most freedoms, the most happiness, before the technology, before all this crap we've got going on today, where you could still be a patriot, you could still be proud of your country, you still valued family, you hadn't lost your minds yet from slow poisoning, from this government folly that is the dietary recommendations. I look back at even the stress and turmoil of the Vietnam War, of the 60s and 70s. It's nothing. There's nothing compared to what's going on today. I can't imagine being a teenager today with a cell phone, glued to that, and not far down the road, it's going to be chips implanted in us. We will indeed become part of the matrix. I can't imagine that would be any kind of life. I may live long enough to see some of it. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. So guys, let me fire up a little music here. Let me find this one. There it is. I hit the right button right off the bat. I hope I didn't depress you all. Still got 84 of you hanging in there with me. Mostly green. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for coming tonight. Hope we didn't bore you too badly. The time, certainly, hour and 45 minutes has flown by, and it's time for all of us to say goodnight. So, Naruto-kun was born in the 70s. Yeah, so were my children. My son was born in 1970. My daughter was born in 1973. They're in their 50s. Yep. I got out of the Army in 1970. And Evan says, good night, everybody. Shalom. Thanks for coming. Evan, thanks for coming in. And Thursday night, man, come into the chat, will you? Meet some of these people. Seriously. If you don't, I'm going to send somebody out there after you to get you. So I hope to see you Thursday night. All the rest of you guys in the community, I will see you Thursday night. Everybody's saying goodbye. And until I see you all again, take the rest of the day off and eat meat.